Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. It's been a minute since I've posted on here. I say that every week now because in all honesty, it's very hard to come up with content when I don't have a horse. So, you know, this channel is based around equestrian content and it's very hard to make content when you don't have the thing that you're making content about. So bear with me, but I do really enjoy making these advice videos. Yeah, it's just hard for me to come up with video ideas every week because I feel like I've already done so many different advice videos and I don't want to like overdo it. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, give this video a thumbs up, and let's jump into today's video. I'm really excited because I'm going to be sharing some advice on how to pick out tack for your horse. And if this is like your very first horse, I feel like this could be very beneficial for you. It can be super overwhelming when, you know, you're trying to prepare to bring a horse home and you don't know what type of tack to get, and there's just so many options out there. Let's just get into the video. I feel like I'm all over the place. Okay, so tip number one is to make a list of everything you need. So if this is your first horse, I highly recommend doing this because, again, it can be very overwhelming. There's a lot that you're going to need, even just for like the basics. And not just tack, but also like grooming supplies and extra things that you may need just, you know, to be prepared for bringing your horse home. Try and make the list again prior to bringing your horse home so that you have time to kind of prepare and set yourself up for success. Also, don't forget that you're going to have to factor in things that you're going to need for yourself as well. So like a helmet, you're going to need gloves, breeches, riding boots. Like if you've already been taking lessons, I'm sure you have most of this stuff. But if you're like cold turkey getting a horse and for some reason you don't have any, you know, equipment at all, keep that in mind as well. I highly recommend that you take lessons before you buy a horse, but I've said that so many times in my videos that I'm not going to get into it. But like, just to name off a couple things that you might want to add to your list, like you're definitely going to need saddle pads, you're going to need a girth, you're going to need a bridle, you're going to need a saddle, you're going to need a halter and a lead rope, you're going to want some protective leg wraps or boots. Like there's just so many things out there on the market and it's really overwhelming because if you don't know anything about, you know, some of the pieces of equipment that you're gonna need, it's really hard to make a decision. Try your best, and I'll get into some advice in a few minutes here that will help you with that, but making a list is always helpful and it'll just keep you on track. It'll make things a little bit easier for you. It's just nice to be able to see like everything that you're gonna need, and you can kind of like make notes to yourself on like certain pieces of equipment and brands that you might want to try out. Tip number two is to do your research on different brands and different styles of equipment. Again, there are so many different types of equipment, and I'm just focusing on English riding for the sake of this video because that's what I ride in. I don't ride Western, so I can't really give the best advice for that discipline. For English riding, there's so many different types of saddles, and again, it depends on what you're going to be doing. Like if you're jumping, there's saddles for that. Dressage, there's different saddles for that. I mean, there's just so many different saddles, and not only saddles, but even like bridles and different types of bits and just like different types of girths. It really does come down to what you are specifically going to be doing with your horse, and it also comes down to doing your research and trying to find a brand that is reliable and reputable but is also not going to break the bank and is within your price range. I really like SmartPack. I think SmartPack has a lot of great affordable options compared to other sites. Dover is also another great website. They have some affordable options of tack and they also have some more expensive options. When you are first purchasing like big pieces of equipment and tack, like a saddle, it's obviously going to be not the cheapest. I do recommend trying to invest in your equipment. So if you can afford it, maybe try spending a little bit more on the pieces of equipment that you're going to be using the most often. It's never a bad thing to invest into the tack that you're going to be using every day. And honestly, it could save you a lot of money in the long run because if you're buying like really cheap girths, for example. Like I remember I used to buy like $30 girths from Dover for my horses, and I would go through so many of them because they just get worn down. They're not the best quality, and if I had just invested in like a nice girth from the beginning, it would have lasted longer. You definitely do want to make sure that the tack that you're buying is going to be reliable, and you know, if you're smart about it, you can actually save yourself money down the road if you make good investments in the beginning. My third tip for you is to consider shopping at a consignment store. There are a lot of great TACK consignment stores down where I live. I know there's probably so many like across the US, and I'm assuming in other countries. It'll definitely save you a lot of money if you're buying used equipment and not like brand new. Definitely look into consignment stores, see if there's any close to you, and maybe give that a try and see if you find anything there. Another great option is eBay or Facebook Marketplace. You definitely do have to be careful with like online sites like that, just because you don't want to get scammed. And you know, if you're spending a good amount of money on something, it can be kind of scary to order from somewhere like eBay. I've never had any problems with eBay. I've never had any problems with Marketplace on Facebook. But again, you just want to be careful and make sure that you're not getting scammed. I actually got my saddle that I still have, I think it was off of eBay. I'm gonna show it to you guys because I love it and it is literally my baby. And when I stopped riding, I was like, there's no way I'm just gonna sell this because I know I'm gonna have horses again in the future. And this is like my dream saddle, so I still have it. I'm gonna show it to you right now. I outgrew the saddle I had before this, and I told my mom like what I wanted for my new saddle because we sold my old one. And I was like, okay, this is the color, this is the brand, like this is the size, like everything. I gave her a very like detailed description of what I wanted. And I kid you not, a couple days later, she comes to me and she's like, I found the exact saddle that you want within our price range on eBay. So we bought it and I didn't get scammed. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna show it to you right now. I haven't looked at this in so long. Ooh, it's a little dusty because I literally haven't. Oh my god, it's so heavy. I forgot how heavy saddles can be. Okay. You can see me in my mirror. Hey, okay. So this is the saddle. I have some old stirrups on it right now, but it's a pretty big saddle. Like it's a very wide seat, but this is an M Toulouse, and I'll show you the little emblem on it. I don't know if it'll focus, but there's a little M Toulouse emblem right there. This is all I've ever wanted in a saddle. I really wanted like a darker piece of tack because my old saddle was more of like an orange color. You know what I'm talking about, like a chestnut color. And I wanted something darker, and I got it off of eBay and I love it. I seriously love this saddle, and it's making me sad looking at it because I'm like, I want to put it on a horse and go ride so bad. Don't feel like you have to buy something brand new because I promise you that it's okay to use used tack. Obviously, if you can afford brand new stuff, then do that if that's what you want to do, but you could really save some money if you look on places like eBay or Facebook Marketplace. The fourth tip is to measure your horse. This is very important, especially for a saddle and a girth. You always want to make sure that your tack fits your horse correctly and comfortably, because your horse will probably make it very clear if the tack is pinching them or doesn't feel right. And that's the last thing you want, obviously. You want your horse to be comfortable so you can be comfortable. So I really recommend having a trainer or somebody that can help you in that type of department and like help you measure your horse. It's just really important to make sure that you're buying the correct size in tack and that you're not, you know, buying something that's too big or too small, especially like with a saddle, because it's going on your horse's back. It's definitely a trial and error type of situation, and you may realize that, you know, you order something and it doesn't fit your horse right. If it doesn't fit your horse, return it or do something with it, but don't use it on your horse. Like, you want to make sure that you are using tack that fits correctly. Having a trainer help you with that is so great, and it's definitely going to help you a lot if you don't really know what to look for when you're first purchasing your tack. And my last piece of advice for you is to ask your trainer, or if you have any friends that ride, for their opinions on the brands that they like. It's obviously great to get an opinion on certain brands and to see what other people recommend, especially if you don't have any TACK yet and you're trying to just find what's a reliable brand. Definitely ask around and see if anybody has any suggestions. Ask questions, be curious. There's nothing wrong with it. Another little tip that I have is to see if anybody you know has any TACK that they are selling or would be willing to let you maybe borrow. I actually got my first saddle from my trainer. I bought it off of her because she was selling it, and I had actually ridden in that saddle during my lessons and I loved it. It was a Pessoa saddle and it was so comfortable. So I bought that from her when I got my first horse. Okay, there are people that are like weed whacking and taking care of the lawn outside, so I'm so sorry if you can hear that, but I'm gonna try to finish up this video. Anyway, as I was saying, I bought that saddle from my trainer and then I ended up outgrowing it, so I had to sell it, and then that's when I bought my M Toulouse. Why does this always happen when I'm filming? That's all the advice that I'm gonna give for today, but if this was helpful to you, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. I am so grateful for all of you that have subscribed and are following me along this journey. It's just amazing to me, so. I give up. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for 12,000 views on my how to buy your first horse video. I cannot believe that. It's insane to me. Thank you to all of you that have been supporting me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week in my next video.